Daniel Carter was a man who had learned the hard way that life never unfolds the way you expect. At 38, he was a single father raising his 12-year-old daughter, Emily, in a modest suburban neighborhood. His once bright future had been derailed years ago when his wife walked out on them, leaving Daniel with nothing but unpaid bills, a broken heart, and a little girl who depended on him for everything. Life had since turned into a delicate balancing act of long work shifts at the local hardware store, helping Emily with her school projects, and trying to keep the roof over their heads. Their small house wasn't much, but it was full of love, and Daniel had promised himself that Emily would never feel the void of her absent mother. But money was tight. Really tight. Between groceries, school fees, and a mortgage that always felt one step away from crushing him, Daniel had reached a point where he had to make a choice. Either find another job and sacrifice time with his daughter, or rent out the extra room in their home. With hesitation, he put up a simple advertisement online, room for rent in quiet family home. Affordable. Female students preferred. He didn't expect much. In fact, he thought no one would even be interested. But a few days later, a girl reached out. Her name was Sophia Williams, a 19-year-old college student who needed a place near campus. She sounded polite, humble, and a little nervous over the phone. Daniel figured she'd be like any other struggling student trying to make ends meet, so he invited her over to meet in person. When Sophia arrived, Daniel noticed immediately that she didn't carry herself like most students. There was grace in her movements, a quiet confidence in her eyes, and yet she dressed simply, jeans, sneakers, a plain hoodie. Emily, curious and shy, peeked from behind the couch, whispering to her father, "She looks nice." Sophia bent down with a warm smile, introducing herself to Emily as if she were the most important person in the room. That small act softened Daniel's guarded heart. After a short tour of the house, Sophia agreed to move in immediately. She handed Daniel a neat envelope with the first month's rent in cash. He didn't know it at the time, but the girl who now lived under his roof was not just a student. She was the daughter of Jonathan Williams, a powerful businessman who owned hotels, tech companies, and properties around the world. Sophia had grown up in luxury, private schools, chauffeurs, designer clothes, but she had grown tired of being known only for her last name. She wanted to experience life as a normal girl, to learn independence, and most importantly, to find people who liked her for who she was, not for her family's wealth. That was why she had chosen Daniel's modest listing instead of the high-end apartments she could easily afford. The first few days were quiet. Sophia kept to herself, studied late into the night, and often helped Emily with homework. Daniel began noticing how Emily lit up whenever Sophia was around. She wasn't just a tenant, she became a friend to his daughter, someone who played board games with her, helped her braid her hair, and even shared secret late-night snacks in the kitchen. Slowly, Daniel's walls began to crumble. He had rented out the room expecting nothing but financial relief, but instead, he had found an unexpected presence that brought warmth into his tired household. One evening, as Daniel came home from work, he overheard Emily and Sophia talking in the living room. Emily giggled, "I wish you could stay forever." Sophia smiled, brushing Emily's hair. "I think I just might." Daniel leaned against the doorway, watching silently. For the first time in years, his house felt whole. What he didn't know was that Sophia's secret, the truth about her family, was about to complicate everything. Weeks turned into months, and Sophia blended seamlessly into Daniel's small family. She wasn't the spoiled heiress her background suggested. Instead, she was grounded, kind, and surprisingly hardworking. She cooked dinners sometimes when Daniel was late, tutored Emily in math, and even offered to contribute more rent when she saw Daniel struggling to fix the leaking roof. He politely refused, embarrassed to accept help from a young student, but her thoughtfulness stayed with him. Meanwhile, Sophia's world outside the Carter household was a sharp contrast. Her father, Jonathan Williams, was furious when he discovered his daughter wasn't living in the expensive condo he had secured for her. But Sophia stood her ground. "I need this, Dad. I want to know what life is like without being treated like royalty." Jonathan couldn't understand, but deep down, he admired his daughter's determination. He secretly hired security to keep an eye on her from a distance, but he never interfered. Back at the modest house, Daniel started noticing the little things. Sophia's phone was brand new, the kind of model he could never afford. Sometimes, sleek black cars parked at the corner of their street, only to disappear when Sophia stepped outside. And once, when Emily mentioned a school fundraiser, Sophia casually wrote a check with an amount so generous it stunned the PTA. Daniel grew suspicious, but he respected her privacy. After all, she had never given him a reason to doubt her sincerity. One rainy evening, everything came to light. Daniel's old car broke down on the way home, and Sophia, without hesitation, called a private driver to pick them up. Daniel, soaked and frustrated, finally asked, "Sophia, who exactly are you?" Sophia hesitated. Her eyes softened with guilt. "I didn't mean to hide it, Daniel. I just wanted to be normal. My father is Jonathan Williams." The name hit Daniel like a thunderclap. Everyone knew Jonathan Williams, the billionaire tycoon. Daniel looked at her in disbelief. "You're telling me all this time, you've been living here, in my tiny house, when you could have lived anywhere?" Sophia nodded, her voice trembling. "Because here, I'm not a billionaire's daughter. I'm just Sophia. You and Emily treat me like family, not like some heiress to a fortune. I've never felt so real, so accepted, in my life." Daniel didn't know what to say. Part of him felt betrayed, but another part couldn't deny the truth. Sophia had never acted entitled. If anything, she had given more than she had taken. Emily, overhearing the conversation, ran up and hugged Sophia tightly. "I don't care if you're a princess or a millionaire's daughter. You're my friend." In that moment, Daniel realized something. His home had always been missing more than money. It had been missing a sense of completeness, of belonging. And Sophia had brought that, not through wealth, but through kindness. As time passed, Daniel and Sophia's bond deepened. It wasn't a romantic bond, at least not yet, but it was something stronger: trust, loyalty, and an unspoken promise that their paths had crossed for a reason. Jonathan Williams eventually visited the Carter home, curious about the family his daughter had chosen. To everyone's surprise, the powerful businessman was humbled by Daniel's quiet resilience and the love he showed his daughter. Jonathan respected Daniel, even offering him opportunities to expand his career, but Daniel refused any handouts. "I don't want charity," he said firmly. "I just want to build a good life for Emily." Jonathan admired that. The story of the single father and the millionaire's daughter wasn't about wealth or status. It was about hearts finding connection in the most unexpected places. Sophia found the family she longed for, Emily gained a big sister she could rely on, and Daniel learned that sometimes blessings come disguised as struggles. As the seasons changed, the Carter household wasn't just a house anymore, it was a home full of laughter, hope, and second chances. And for Sophia, who once lived surrounded by riches but starved of real connection, this modest home was worth more than all her father's fortune. And that, dear viewers, is the story of how a single dad renting out a room led to a life-changing bond. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful and inspiring stories. Your support keeps these stories alive, and together, we can keep spreading hope, love, and inspiration to the world.